Welcome to this lesson dedicated to a C minor prelude by Sergei Rachmaninoff. This is an absolutely astonishing, beautiful, and very turbulent piece. Very pleasant to play, very fulfilling to play if you have an optimized technique, if you find your way to approach this piece efficiently, because it's very pianistic. So despite all its challenges, it's actually very comfortable to play. But of course, you have to work on your efficiency in order to get to that level. You know, the piece blows my mind really, because it's such a deep composition, because we start from that hectic search for a way out, but we only more and more, the more we resist, the more we fall lower and lower, so being pulled lower and lower. We have those nostalgic shouts like, oh my god, when it will finish, I can't bear this. And here we have moment of sadness and almost giving up. So sad and losing, you know, when you lost something. And then second circle, when we don't want to give up, so we continue to search for an exit. And the task here is to, despite we go down, this is a downward-oriented sequence, but the tension has to rise. So we have to feel like that intensifying, pulling down, that something is pulls us down lower and lower, and it's only scarier and scarier. Here, the first awakening, the first protest, real protest. And this chord is more intensive, that's why don't let that diminuendo to fool you, because in bar number 30, you have to play this chord more intensely. And only later do diminuendo. And I disregard that piano, because for me this is still very painful, very... Then very alive. Don't rush the arpeggiated chords here. And last pedal to enjoy those. This is actually an uncomfortable spot. You see, we have to move our second finger over F sharp, because otherwise you miss the way I did. Gets darker thanks to that D flat. A flat, very painful lead. And don't hesitate to play a little bit slower, more mysteriously, and disregard that forte. And then you feel the giant opens up their shoulder. So I don't remember exactly how in English goes that. Ayn Rand book, Atlant opened the shoulders or something like that. You know, standing up and demonstrating how huge you are. Going all in, but without tension. Here, very important, those very bright chops. So make sure you really can strike those keys without tension, but with stable fingers and very quick elbow impulses. Very turbulent bar where here actually what I do sometimes, I mark that the upper three notes counterbalancing those bass notes. So we have to I think that's interesting, dialogue of the elements. Back off. But don't lose tension, it still has to be very anxious. No. And then milder, much milder. So always breathe in together with this music. You can take more, you can bring more pain on marking that minor second. Very carefully. This is very shallow water, so we have to navigate very carefully. And here, sit back. If you were like getting smaller here, just remind yourself to spread up your shoulders shortly after. For this last attempt to claim your freedom. Here you already see the exit, you already see that light, that okay, you're almost out of the cage, almost got to the western border of the Soviet Union. And it fails, everything just blows away and you're caught and you're put back to your prison. Less pedal for this bar. And this is a major, C major, which is not a victory. You can feel how dramatic and actually tragic and kind of this C major after all this story, yeah, which is uncovered here, it sounds like a sarcasm actually. It doesn't sound like victory, it doesn't sound like achieving, it's like mocking, really. So this is my idea about this piece. This is what I think this piece depicts. And this story and this kind of feedback, my inner feedback, is of course an underlying asset of my interpretation. But of course, if you have a different idea about this piece, if you have a different response to this music, of course, I will be very interested to hear about that. So write it in the comments. Let's play all together, but in a reduced version, just a harmonic skeleton. So bar number 1, bar number 2, an augmented chord, bar number 3, and bar number 4. So this is our harmonic progression here. Then bars number 5 to 8 are almost identical. We just shift the whole thing to B flat minor, bar number 6, an augmented chord, bar number 7, and bar number 8. And after you can play it like this, in this reduced version, as a harmonic skeleton, then we play it all together. And here, of course, we have different options how we can play all those 16th notes. For example, if you check out a recording from by Grigory Sokolov, which he which he made in his senior ages, maybe recently, like last couple of years, you can see that he plays all those 16th notes with one hand. Like that. Which is, of course, a neat way to hold that bass, of course. But I have to say that it's possible if you play it that slowly or maybe a little bit quicker. And in my opinion, his tempo is a little bit too slow for me. And with I love Grigory Sokolov. He's one of my favorite artists. But when it comes to some pieces like this one, sometimes for me it's hard to listen because it might be a little bit too slow. And also he has a tendency to make a small form too large by wrapping up each phrase, slowing down at the end of each phrase, and kind of disconnecting phrases from each other, which is hard for me. I really like when things are unified, when you breathe like one breath through the whole piece, which is not the case here, and in my opinion, it's not that convincing. So that's why I think that distributing these 16th notes between the hands in order to be able to play it in still quite turbulent tempo and with a natural flow is the best idea here. And how to understand what do you take in the left hand and what do you take in the right hand? It's very simple. You just see where the stems look of those 16th notes. So, for example, all those notes are written on the treble staff, on the treble clef, sorry. And we see that some of them are looking down and some of them are looking up. So the first beat, you see the stems are looking down. So you take them in the left hand. And then the second beat and the third beat and 2 notes of the fourth beat go to the right hand because we see that the stems for those 16th notes go up. And then the last 2 notes of the bar go to the left hand again. So this is basically your system. Of course, you can check how I distribute this stuff between the hands, because I do it sometimes a little bit differently. So you can look at my vertical camera and see how I do this. You can also experiment with your own ways. Basically, each pianist readjusts this prelude to their own hands and their own liking. But I think that what you have in this old Soviet Union score, those suggestions are optimal. So starting from bar 69, we have the last section of this piece. Also, mezzo forte first. Like, you can even do more than what I did. And like, forget about musicality at first, forget about phrasing, just discipline your fingers exactly the way we did in the beginning. This is crucial because it will allow you to set up a foundation to actually play it expressively, because this is a very nasty spot. I don't even know how many times I practiced this last page, this last section, in order to be confident about it and be able to play it comfortably. So this is a nasty one. That's why really invest your time into practicing with a good support efficiently. So, like, this is like your must-have. You must be able to play it efficiently without any tension, and in this kind of tempo with like constant mezzo forte. If you have this, we can move further to actually making it expressive and hopefully impressing. So, by releasing your arm, allowing your arm to lead your fingers, and very careful. Relax. Relax very well. Release the key properly at the pause. Shaping those notes. So in, out, in. Adi. This is one motion. And then this is the second motion. So one element, the second element, and then the third element. So learn in groups exactly the way I show, because this is your motion coordination. The first element, the second element, the third element. And always play the thumb on a little bit of a pulling motion. So whenever you get to the thumb, it's a little bit a pulling motion. So the thumb functions as your anchor, allowing you to get in touch, in control with the keys. So I hope that this lesson was helpful, and see you next time.